Greetings friends. In this video lecture, we'll be covering the other provisions related to demand and recovery under GST Act from section 75 to section 84. This video will be helpful for the person who wants to understand the provision relating to demand and recovery of GST Act, CGST Act. Though this video has been prepared specifically with reference to this syllabus of advanced tax laws for professional program of CS student, but still this video can be referred by anyone who wants to understand the relevant provision. In the last video lecture, we have learned the main provision related to demand and recovery, that is section 73 and 74. Now we will be covering the balance provision. This video lecture has been prepared based on the literature, the study material available and provided by the institute as given in lesson 5 of advanced tax law, professional programs, CS new syllabus. Before going to the provision, we'll touch upon the relevant provision related to the forms being used in reference to the notices, the declaration, the statement given under section 73 or 74. Here when it comes to the forms being used as provided under the relevant rules, we find that where a notice is to be served by the proper officer, then that notice is required to be served in form GST DRC 01. This form is applicable not only for section 73 and 74 but also for other sections like section 52, 76, 122, 123, 124, 125 and 127, also for 129 and 130. So this is a form which is used for the notices issued by proper officer under all these sections of CGST Act. The summary of the content of notice is to be given in this form. Then for issuing notice under subsection 3 of 73 and 74, form DRC 02 is required to be used, and when a person chargeable with tax make payment of tax and interest under subsection 8 of 73 and 74 within 30 days of service of notice under the aforesaid provision, all the provisions, or where the person concerned makes payment of the amount referred to in section 129 within 14 days of detention of seizure of goods or conveyance, intimation is to be issued in form GST DRC 03. The proceeding by proper officer is to be concluded and order is to be passed in form DRC 05, where the person makes voluntary payment before the issue of notice under subsection 5 of section 73 and 74, then that proper officer will issue acknowledgement receipt in form GST DRC 04 upon receipt of information by the person chargeable with tax. Now coming back to the relevant provision, the balance provision of demand and recovery. Section 75 deals with general provision relating to the determination of tax. Subsection 1 states that where upon notice being issued or the order is stayed by the court or appellate tribunal, the period of such a stay shall be excluded in computing the period specified in section 73 and 74, that is the period of 3 years and 5 years respectively, will be counted, excluding the period during which the notice or the issuance of order is issued stayed by the courts. Subsection 2 provides that where the appellate authority or the appellate tribunal or court concludes that the notice issued under subsection 1 of 74, that is by reason of fraud or suppression of material fact, is not sustainable, then that notice will be treated as a notice under section 73, subsection 1 of section 73. Subsection 3 of section 75 provides that where any order is required to be issued in pursuance to any direction passed by appellate authority or appellate tribunal or court, such order shall be issued within 2 years from the date of communication of such direction by relevant court, tribunal or authority. Subsection 4 provides that opportunity of hearing shall be granted where a request is received in writing from the parcel chargeable with tax or penalty, or where any adverse decision is contemplated to be taken against such person. Subsection 5 deals with that the proper officer, if sufficient cause is shown by the person chargeable with tax, grant time to the said person and adjourn the hearing for a reason to be recorded in writing, which could be maximum 3 times. That is, such adjournment shall be granted not more than 3 times to a person during the whole proceeding. Then the proper officer is required to pass an order setting out all the relevant facts and the basis on which the order has been passed and decision has been taken by him. Subsection 7 of section 75 deals with the amount of tax, interest and penalty demanded in the order shall not be in excess of the amount specified in the notice, the original notice, and no demand shall be confirmed on the ground other than the ground which were specified in the notice. Subsection 8 stipulates that the appellate authority or appellate tribunal or court modifies the amount of tax determined by the proper officer, then in such cases interest and penalty shall also be modified accordingly, taking into the account of amount of tax so modified by these appellate authorities and court. Subsection 9 provides that the interest on the tax, short paid or not paid, shall be payable whether or not specified in the order determining the tax liability. Subsection 10 deals with the adjudication proceedings which shall be deemed to be concluded if the order is not issued within the period of 3 years or 5 years as specified in subsection 10 of section 73 and section 74. So maximum time period, if authority fails to conclude the proceeding, then it will be assumed as concluded and no further action could be taken against the person to whom notice was issued. Subsection 11 deals with an issue on which the appellate authority or the appellate tribunal or the High Court has given its decision, which is prejudicial to the interest of revenue. Then an appeal to the related forum, higher fora, that is appellate tribunal, High Court or Supreme Court, against such decision of the appellate authority, tribunal or High Court, if it is preferred and is pending, the period spent between the date of decision of the appellate authority or appellate forum and the date of decision between High Court, Supreme Court or appellate tribunal shall be excluded in the computing of the period referred in subsection 10 of 73 and 74, that is period of 3 years and 5 years respectively for section 73 and 74. Subsection 12 is a overriding provision which says that notwithstanding anything contained in section 73 and 74, where any amount of self-assessed tax in accordance with the return furnished under section 39 remains unpaid, either wholly or partly, or any amount of interest payable on such tax remains unpaid, the same shall be recovered under the provision of section 79. Subsection 13 provides for penalty if imposed under section 73 and 74. No penalty for the same act or omission shall be imposed on the same person under any other provision of this act. So basically section 75 of CGST Act 2017 deals with a stay of notice. If there is a stay, then that period will be excluded. If there is no fraud or willful misrepresentation established in the appellate tribunal or court, then the notice issued under subsection 1 of section 74 shall be treated as a notice issued under subsection 1 of section 73, and proceeding in accordance with section 73 will continue. The overall limit of passing order and communication of such order, if any direction has been passed by the appellate authority, tribunal or court, is 2 years. Opportunity of hearing is required to be given to the person, and maximum adjournment, which on written request of the person chargeable with tax and sufficient cause being shown, should be maximum of 3 times. Speaking order needs to be passed, and there is overall limitation as given in subsection 10 of section 73 and 74. Now we have an illustration with respect to notice suppression of turnover. If a notice is issued by the proper officer demanding suppression of turnover to the tune of rupees 35 lakh at the rate of GST 5%, assuming the amount was challenged and the appellate tribunal or authority in its judgment awarded rupees 12,50,000 GST at the rate 5%, then the liability will be calculated in accordance with the judgment of award of rupees 12.50 lakh at GST 5%, which will be rupees 62,500. Then an amount on account of interest is to be added at the rate 24% on the tax amount from the date of liability till the date of actual payment, and then penalty is to be added depending upon the date of issuance of notice. The appeal provision hierarchy has been given, that is, suppose proper officer pass an order, then it goes to first appellate authority, first appellate authority to appellate tribunal, then High Court and Supreme Court. Section 76 of CGST Act deals with tax collected but not paid to the government. There are 11 subsection in it, which basically deals if any amount has been collected by any person, then that needs to be paid to the government. Whether it is actually payable or not is not to be decided by the person who has collected the tax, but it needs to be paid forthwith to the government, irrespective whatever the contention of the person who has collected the tax from for any supply. Subsection 2 deals with if that amount is not paid, then so cause notice will be issued by proper officer that why he did not pay the tax even after collecting it, and penalty equivalent to the amount of tax shall be imposed under the provision of this act. Subsection 3 deals PO proper officer, after considering representation if any made by the person who has collected the tax, shall determine the amount due from such person, and thereupon such person shall pay the amount. Subsection 4 deals with the additional liability, and it provides that in addition to the amount referred or decided by the proper officer, the person shall also be liable to pay interest at a rate specified under section 50 from the date amount so collected and from till the date of payment to the government. An opportunities of hearing is required to be granted if any such request is received from the person who has collected the tax but not paid. Subsection 6 deals with proper officer who shall issue an order within 1 year from the date of issue of such notice. Subsection 7 provides that if any of the notice or issuance of order has been stayed by court or appellate tribunal, that period shall be excluded for computing 1 year's time period for passing of the order. Subsection 8 directs that proper officer should pass an order setting out the fact and basis of his decision. It should be a reasoned order. Subsection 9 deals with the amount paid to the government under any of the subsection of section 76, then it shall be adjusted against tax payable if any by the person in relation to supplies referred in subsection 1. Where any surplus amount is left after adjustment, then such surplus shall either be credited to the fund or refunded to the person who has borne the incident of such amount. Subsection 11 deals that the person who has borne the incident of amount may apply for refund of the same in accordance with the provision of section 54. Section 75, section 76 and now section 77 deals with tax wrongfully collected and paid to the central government or state government. How such incident will be dealt. Subsection 1 of 77 provides that a registered person who has paid the central tax or state tax, or as the case may be, the central tax and union territory tax on the transaction considered by him to be an intrastate supply but which is subsequently held to be interstate supply, shall be refunded the amount of tax so paid in such manner and subject to such condition as may be prescribed. Subsection 2 is a provision wherein if a registered person has paid integrated tax on a transaction which he considered to be interstate supply but subsequently held to be intrastate supply, shall not be required to pay any interest on the amount of central tax or state tax, or as the case may be, the central tax and union territory tax. So these are the provisions to deal with the mistaken consideration with respect to the intra or interstate supplies, and there will not be any actual refund to the person who has paid the tax. Rather, there shall have to be an amendment to the invoices to be made while filing return of any subsequent tax period. Section 78 deals with initiation of recovery proceeding. If any amount payable by the taxable person in pursuance to order passed under this act, and such person fails to pay the tax within 3 months from the date of service of such order, then recovery proceeding will be initiated against him. However, if proper officer considers it expedient in the interest of revenue for reason to be recorded in writing that such payment should be made within a period less than 3 months, then he may pass order and direct the person to pay tax in a period less than period of 3 months. Section 79 deals with the recovery of tax, how recovery is effected. This recovery of tax is to be done as per the procedure prescribed herein, which says that where any amount is payable to the government under any of the provision of this act or rules made thereunder, and if the taxable person has not paid the tax, the proper officer shall proceed to recover the amount by one or more mode as given in clause under subsection 1 of section 79. Clause A deals with the proper officer may deduct or may require any other specified officer to deduct the amount so payable from any money owing to such person, which may be under the control of the proper officer or such other specified officer. Clause B deals with the proper officer may recover or may require any other specified officer to recover the amount so payable by detaining and selling goods belonging to such person which are under the control of proper officer or other specified officer. Under subclause 1 of clause C, the proper officer may by notice in writing require any other person from whom money is due or may become due or who holds or may subsequently hold money for or on account of such person to pay the government either forthwith or upon the money becoming due or being held. So that amount is to be paid to the government by such other person. Subclause 2 deals with the situation where if any notice has been issued then those persons shall be bound to comply with such notice, and on default the action shall be taken against them as if those person are in default. Then the officer issuing notice under clause 1 may at any time amend or revoke such notice or extend the time for making any payment in pursuance of the notice. If any person making any payment in compliance with the notice issued to him shall be deemed to have made the payment under the authority of the person in default, and such payment being credited to the government shall be deemed to constitute good and sufficient discharge of liability of such person to the person in default to the extent of amount specified in the receipt. 6 deals with any person discharging any liability to the person in default after service of notice on him shall be personally liable to the government to the extent of liability discharge or to extent of liability of the person in default for tax, interest and penalty, whatever is less. Clause 7 deals with where a person on whom a notice is served proves to the satisfaction of officer issuing the notice that the money demanded or any part thereof was not due, then he shall not be considered to be liable to make payment to the government. Clause E deals with the proper officer. The proper officer may prepare a certificate signed by him specifying the amount due from such person and send it to the collector of a district where the property of such person is available or carries his business in the territory of that district, and the said collector on receipt of such certificate shall proceed to recover from such person the amount specified thereunder as if it were areas of land revenue. Now, such application can also be filed before the appropriate magistrate, and such magistrate shall proceed to recover from such person the amount specified thereunder as if it were a fine imposed on him. Where the terms of any bond or instrument executed under this act or rules or regulations provides for a particular way of recovery, still the proper officer without prejudice to any other mode of recovery may recover in accordance with the provision contained in section 79 subsection 1. Subsection 3 provides that the amount which is to be required to be recovered from the person in default can also be recovered by the state government as if it's areas of state, union territory, tax and credited to the government. Now, there is one more provision which has been given but not dealt by me. It says that where the amount recovered under subsection 3 is less than the amount due to the central government, the state government, the amount to be credited to the account of respective government shall be proportionate basis. Now, coming to section 80, that is payment of tax and other amount in installment, power has been given to the commissioner. However, he is required to record the reasoning in writing and extend the time period for payment or allows payment of any amount due under this act other than the amount due as per the liability of self-assessment in any return, and such person in monthly installment which cannot exceed more than 24 installment, subject to the interest accrued in accordance with section 50, and also conditions and limitation can be prescribed by the commissioner. However, in such cases, if there is any default, even one installment is not paid on due date, the whole outstanding balance payable on such date shall become due and payable forthwith, and shall without any further notice being served on the person be liable for recovery in accordance with the provision of the act. Section 81 deals with transfer of property to be void in certain case. If any person wants to defraud the revenue by creating a charge on whole of property or part of property belonging to him after any amount has become due to revenue from him, then such transfer whatsoever of any of his property in favor of any other person shall be void as against the claim in respect of any tax or any other sum payable by said person, provided that such charge or transfer shall not be void if it is made for adequate consideration and in good faith and without notice of pendency of such proceeding under this act or without notice of such tax or other sum payable by him or with the previous permission of proper officer. Section 82 deals with tax to be first charged on the property. So, notwithstanding anything contrary to the any law for time being in force, and save as otherwise provided in IBC 2016, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, any amount payable by a taxable person or any other person on account of tax, interest, penalty shall be first charged on the property of such taxable person. Then there is a provision for provisional attachment to protect the revenue given in section 83, where during pendency of any proceeding under section 62, 63, 64, 67, 73 or 74, Commissioner may pass an order of attachment in writing whereby it will provisionally attach the property including bank account belonging to the taxable person, and these provisional attachments shall cease to have effect after the expiry of period of 1 year from the date of passing of the order by the Commissioner. Section 84 deals with the continuation of and validation of certain recovery proceeding. It says that where any notice of demand for tax, penalty, interest or any other amount under Act is served on the taxable person or any other person and appeal revision has been filed and proceeding initiated, then for the period and for the amount, if it has been enhanced in such appeal revision or proceeding, then the Commissioner shall only serve the notice with respect to the enhanced amount, and any recovery proceeding which was pending prior to the order of the in appeal and revision will continue from the state at which such proceeding stood immediately before such disposal, and no fresh notice is required to be issued for the demand. If the amount payable by the person in default is reduced in appeal, then though it is not necessary for Commissioner to serve upon the taxable person a fresh notice, still Commissioner may give intimation of such reduction to the person and to the appropriate authority with whom recovery proceeding is pending, and any recovery proceeding initiated on the basis of demand served upon him prior to disposal of such appeal, revision or other proceeding may be continued from the stage it stood immediately before such disposal. So friends, these are the complete provision of demand and recovery under CGST Act. I have dealt it in 2 videos. In first video I have covered the important sections of section 73 and 74, and in this video the remaining section pertaining to demand and recovery, and hopefully this will be helpful in preparation of exam. So bye, Enjoy learning.